Our next session, Unlocking the Toolbox, Tools and Tactics for a Greener Future. Please welcome to the stage your moderator, TV personality, science communications, ocean advocate, Danni Washington, President 11th Hour Racing, Michelle Carnevale, Director FoxallMunro, Damian Foxall, and Director FoxallMunro, Amy Munro.
Well, hello. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Danni Washington, and I have the honor and privilege of moderating today's panel called Unlocking the Toolbox, Tools and Tactics for a Greener Future. And I'm really excited for everything we're about to share for the next half hour, so I hope you stick around and enjoy. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a TV presenter, ocean advocate, and also a founder of an organization called Big Blue and You down in Miami, Florida. And I've been working in this space within sustainability and ocean advocacy for the last 15 years as someone who is amplifying the work of so many great organizations, scientists, and people in this space. So it's really good to be here at the Nest Climate Campus. I'll just jump right in and introduce our panelists. So first off, I'd love to introduce the president of 11th Hour Racing, Michelle Carnevale. Yes, come on out, Michelle. Michelle is the president of 11th Hour Racing, and 11th Hour Racing is the sponsor of the Nest Campus, specifically the waste diversion and education sponsor of the event, as well as the immersive experience, for those of you who may have checked it out already, called The Race Below. It's a large immersive experience focusing on ocean health as well as issues and solutions. Next, we have Damian Foxall. He is a professional sailor. Yes, round of applause for Damian. And Damian's been working in the marine sector for over 35 years. He is also the managing director of sustainability consultancy called FoxallMunro. And Damian's also just an all-around badass. He's sailed around the world 10 times. So it's always great to have Damian here to talk about his experiences. And then we have Amy Munro, who is the other half of FoxallMunro. And Amy is a sustainability professional who has been working within the realm of sports and using it as a catalyst for social and environmental change. Her background has been in strategy, development, and implementation for performance sailing projects within the America's Cup and Ocean Race teams. So we're really excited to have our panelists here today, and I'm going to take a seat. Here we go. Excellent. Well, how are we feeling, everybody? Good?
Great.
Good.
Are you all doing great? Yes. Okay, so let's kick it off with you, Amy, and talk a little bit about context. Tell us about the origins of the Toolbox.
Yeah, so the Toolbox was conceived within the practical setting of an offshore sailing team sponsored by 11th Hour Racing. And we sort of, after a year in 2020, after a year of measuring, managing, understanding our impacts, it was quite clear that around 80% of the footprint was in our supply chain. And so as we started to have one-to-one conversations with our various suppliers, we were wanting to get around to more of them and sort of understand the overall health of our supply chain. And with the majority of the sort of where we were based as in the kind of in France with the European boating industry, around 97% are small, medium-sized enterprises. And as we were having these conversations, it became quite clear that there are a lot of similar challenges faced with lots of open doors and willingness and to do something around sustainability management, but similar challenges faced as it relates to resource, time, lack of understanding or feeling overwhelmed about where to start and what tools there might be to support them. So that's sort of where the Toolbox initially was conceived.
Excellent, excellent. And I think it's safe to say that all four of us are ocean folks here. We met through the context of the ocean, and as far as I understand, this is one of the only panels here at Nest that's talking with an ocean lens. So we're so excited to share the origins of this coming from the sailing industry, but we're going to learn soon that it goes far beyond that in any sector. But what inspired you, Amy, to create this resource, and why are you personally passionate about the Toolbox?
Well, firstly, it wasn't me or us or even just this group. It was all of our peers and various other suppliers and groups who all had this interest in creating a collaborative community set of resources that could help us all move to that end goal faster together. But I think that personal passion came in from when we had this year delay with the race during COVID, and we had this year opportunity of pause where we could really take some time, get everyone around the table, and work out how we could drive more value both through our supply chain, but to our sponsors as well, and really look at something that was useful that we could work on together while we had that sort of pause.
Another story, a silver lining story of COVID and having the opportunity to focus in and build something as cohesive and comprehensive as the Sustainability Toolbox is brilliant. So I understand we have an animation that helps explain the toolbox a little bit more. Let's take a look.
Introducing the Toolbox, an award-winning platform providing free tools and support to build your sustainability strategy, no matter the organisation, size or industry sector. The Toolbox offers over 60 free resources in multiple languages, such as templates, case studies and how-to guides, as well as free one-on-one expert guidance for your business. Crafted by sustainability experts, the practical tools are used by hundreds of users across 95 sectors in over 120 countries. You will also find tutorial videos, a global forum and expert accelerators who connect the community through peer-to-peer support and invaluable shared learning wherever you are. Sign up today and start your journey towards positive systemic change. The Toolbox, a community for the transition to sustainability.
Awesome. So this is a Creative Commons platform. This is free, open access, available to the public, which is brilliant. Was there anything else you wanted to add about the Toolbox?
Yeah, it's exactly created on the platform under the ethos when we share, everyone wins. The real value is in the community that use them, update them, contribute their own, add additional language support. So it's now in 5 different languages. And it's basically made up of a set of templates, practical guides, calculators, trackers, and then case studies on how each of those other members have used and progressed through the steps themselves.
Fantastic. Thank you, Amy. Michelle, I'd love to move on to you. So the Toolbox is an open access platform, as we've mentioned, and it's very much aligned with the 11th Hour mission and philosophy of supporting community. Can you give us some idea of the scope of work that 11th Hour does for those who maybe are not familiar yet?
Sure, I'd love to. So 11th Hour Racing, our mission is to mobilize the sports, maritime, and coastal communities with this innovative approach to inspire and advance solutions for the ocean. And our name really comes from the sense of urgency that we are in the 11th hour when it comes to climate action and sustainability, but also this belief that we can harness the power of sport to create positive change in the world. And so since 2010, we've been working internationally in 3 main areas of work. The first is inspiring action through sport, and that could be personal action, it could be community action, industry, policy change. Also inspiring a vision of what's possible through storytelling, and that's through film and journalism. It's through that immersive experience outside here in the Javits Center that I hope everyone will go visit, because we believe that people connect with stories and not statistics. And then lastly, we catalyze impact through grant making. So we fund community-led projects by NGOs and communities themselves that are focused on education, restoration, policy change, behavior change. And in part, it's because we believe that community-driven projects are the most successful. Communities know what they need, what their challenges are. They often have the best solutions. So I think when we fund a project like the Toolbox, it's just so important that it's free, it's open to anybody, it has as many languages as possible because we need as many organizations and people to use it so we can create as much impact as possible.
Absolutely. Community is everything. And I am part of this community with 11th Hour, and I'm so grateful to be a 2024 11th Hour ambassador, and my work in Miami in the ocean space has been supported by 11th Hour, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of this family because you are true to what your purpose is, and you make it happen, so thank you for all of that. Now, I want to just talk a little bit about collaboration, like you mentioned. Why is collective action key?
Yeah, I think when it comes to climate solutions and sustainability practices, we need an all hands on deck approach. Like, we need change at all levels. We need solutions big and small across all different sectors. And that's why at 11th Hour Racing, we fund so many different types of projects. Some are led by NGOs, some are led by municipalities, some are led by industry and sports teams. And I think the Toolbox really gets at this question we are asked constantly by especially small and medium organizations is, how do I even get started doing this? I don't even know where to start. And that question can be so paralyzing and you can get stuck there. But the Toolbox is just this great step-by-step approach, guides you through, you can adapt it for whatever your organization needs. And I think collaboration is so key that we've now been hosting a number of convenings and workshops amongst our partners and in different geographies, not only to share the toolbox, but for partners to share what's working and what's not working, because we need to learn from each other and not try to reinvent the wheel. It's urgent that we all take action, and we need to be as effective as possible to create change as quickly as possible. So.
Yes, as quickly as possible. We are in the 11th hour.
Yes.
We got to move. So Damian, I want to talk to you a little about embedding sustainability into business organizations. As Michelle mentioned, it's very hard to just get started. And that's really a space that the Toolbox lives in to help alleviate that complexity. Where do they begin? If someone here in the audience wants to get started with the Toolbox.
Well, I think that really is key, is understanding, first of all, where you're at now. Just from my perspective, I grew up on a farm. I've spent most of my professional life on the water. These are very finite, closed loop environments. You know, you run out of resources, it's not a good thing. So I think this is something for us all to take into consideration when we think about our organization, business, whatever it is. Where am I starting? And then kind of set a framework and a roadmap for where I want to go next, and take that brave first step. And the rest follows. You know, what we're presenting here is a very well-recognized sustainability framework, which most of the consultants here in the room will clearly recognize. It's based on well-known standards, and the rest follows. The momentum, putting in place, allocating the resources, scaling up business, scaling up ambition, and reporting at the end of cycle one. Behind the Toolbox, it's free, we've already mentioned Isaac Murray, who's on the screen here. He's the community manager. He provides support to members as they sign up, and that's free. And then quite often we get a lot of demands for, okay, this is fantastic, but I still need help. And so we have a growing network of Toolbox accelerators, consultants, maybe like yourselves, who we match with this demand from the community. Who is the community? One of the good examples here on screen is Isaac speaking to one of our larger community members, who's the Association of National Olympic Committees, which represents 150 Olympic committees from around the world, and they use the Toolbox framework for framing their own sustainability plans. And I think we'll meet now one of the examples from the Australian Olympic Committee, Hannah, who's done an amazing job over the last 2 years to work with the Australian Olympic Committees and their own sports federations. So these are really one of the bigger members of the Toolbox.
Great. Let's take a look and meet Hannah. You can roll the video.
Hi Nest Climate Campus. I'm Hannah Campbell Pegg. I'm a two-time Winter Olympian in the sport of luge for Australia. I have a background in climate impact research on winter sports, and I have been the Australian Olympic Committee facilitator for the Toolbox program. So basically there was no support, there was no background education, and there were no resources for any of the national federations to support them to set up a sustainability strategy or any strategic planning behind sustainability for their sport organisations. So the Toolbox came about through ANOC, the Association of National Olympic Committees, where the Toolbox was working with ANOC to produce to facilitate sustainability strategic planning within the Olympic committees, and the AOC decided that was a great opportunity for them to be able to use this as a pilot program and see how it went. It provided the steps and the structure in the process for the national federations who didn't have the background knowledge or experience in this area to be able to get started in creating their strategic plan. Basically, the best approach that we took was beginning a bunch of workshops for the national federations where we all came together, and we were able to run 2 different workshops with some federations that were a little bit further ahead, and then on another day we had the other federations that were a little bit further behind. Took them through the toolbox steps, and they were able to get on their way and take it away and create with their own sustainability working groups their strategic plans. Water Polo Australia fine-tuned their sustainability strategy, and were able to launch it using the toolbox steps as well to help them fine-tune at the end and give them some larger scope on what they were trying to achieve. And Hockey Australia has ended up launching their sustainability strategy as well recently, and both have also become signatories to the UN Sport for Climate Action Framework. Rowing Australia is working towards their sustainability strategy at high speed, and they are they've engaged with the steps along the way as well, and constantly in contact, which is great to see as well. One of the other great outcomes from the toolbox is also that we've created a sustainability network within Australian sport as well, which is growing. It was really great to see during the workshops, everybody working together, everybody trying to solve other national federations' problems as well and come up with solutions, and everybody sharing their own policies and procedures that they come up with and other initiatives as well, so that we could all create a team together within sport rather than be working on it alone and under-resourced. The toolbox isn't just able to be utilised for just sporting organisations, it can be utilised for any organisation. The processes, the steps that the toolbox takes you through to develop your strategic plan are simple to follow and really easy to implement. All in all, I would say the pilot program has been a great success using the toolbox, and we look forward to growing the pilot program in Australia and adding more national federations to the program as well, and continuing it on in years to come. I'm wishing you all a great Climate Week and good luck in your own sustainability journey.
Thanks, Hannah.
Awesome, round of applause for Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
We're really grateful that Hannah could send in her comments and her feedback all the way from Australia, and that's one international example. And so far you've heard many examples related to sports, but the toolbox can go far beyond sports and into other sectors. And in fact, we have a special guest today who is going to share her story just up down the road, I don't know which way, Rhode Island. I'm really bad with geography, sorry. But she's based out of Rhode Island. I'd love to welcome Cathleen Carr. Cathleen, you can come on out. There she is. Excellent. Join us, Kathleen. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. So Kathleen is the executive director from newportFILM, which is an organization that is supported by 11th Hour Racing and has been a proud user of the toolbox.
Yes.
And you're going to share a little bit about the work you're doing in Rhode Island. We'd love to hear from you.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having newportFILM here. We're so glad to be here. So newportFILM is a year-round documentary film series based in Newport, Rhode Island, and we have a very celebrated summertime series called newportFILM Outdoors, and we screen over 10 weeks the most impactful and the newest documentaries at ever-rotating iconic outdoor spaces, so the Gilded Age mansion lawns and historic Fort Adams, the most beautiful spaces. And we screen for the local and the seasonal and the tourist community and for thousands of people. And it's a huge treasure in the community. There's food vendors, there's live music, it's picnicking. It's just a wonderful community event. And so in 2022, with the support of 11th Hour, we launched zero waste stations and a green team. And we wanted to be the credible messengers in our community and really lean into sustainable event practices. And so we've just been moving forward and forward and forward on this, and we're so proud of what we achieved. So we just wrapped our 2024 season. So we had 79% waste diverted from landfills, which was a huge accomplishment. We were up 8 percentage points from last summer, and we did messaging with the audience. So every week, week over week, we would let the audience know, and we'd have like chalkboards up letting people know how much more we had diverted week over week. So we were really trying to engage the community in this effort. And so we would have like, I loved seeing like, you know, an older patron coming to the zero waste station and being really invested and interested in like where to sort, you know, their compost. And so they really, the audience really became connected to what we were doing, and we were normalizing this idea of composting. And it was a really powerful thing. It's been powerful to watch. And we also have eliminated single-use plastics in all of our production, back-end production, and with food vendors. So we've made it very clear with our food vendors. And we were a green certified event from the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management this summer as well. So we've really been mobilizing the community around this to have a lot of pride. And we partnered with a local nonprofit called Bike Newport, and so we were energizing the community to ride their bikes, and we provided supports to get cyclists going. And so this has all been with the great support of 11th Hour, and then when the Toolbox was introduced, we just leapt on it. It was such an incredible resource because we were, like with all organizations, it's really hard to bake in sustainable practices. You want to do it, and you don't know where to start and how to codify it and keep it going. And so the Toolbox has now been this framework that is helping us map it out. And we're in the midst of a 3-year strategic plan with our organization. And so we have this really powerful resource that's helping us map it out and bake it into our organization in a really durable and powerful way. So we've just been so excited about it.
That's fabulous. Oh my goodness, wonderful.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you so much, Kathleen.
Yeah.
And we're learning, you know, it's with sustainability, it's metrics driven. We want to see the numbers, and like your organization has already removed 79% of waste from the landfill. I mean, that's incredible to do as a film organization. So you see that intersection of storytelling, bringing the community together, but then also on an organizational level, being able to impact change.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like event production is really, anything can go wrong at any point. A volunteer could not show up, anything could happen. There could be rain. I can talk to you offline about rain. There's a lot of things that can happen. And so it's an iterative process. And so to get to that 79%, you know, we'd actually set 90% as a goal. We didn't get there, but we raised 8 percentage points. So if we hadn't been using this resource to get us to understand that it's iterative, you have to stick to your systems and structures and metrics, measuring, it's so critical, and that's how we're going to all collectively get to where we need to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. Wow, well, I don't know about you, but I'm interested in hearing a lot more about how to actually dive into the toolbox. So let's get the nuts and bolts. Damian, can you guide us through what it looks like when you're utilizing the toolbox?
Starting with the access through the website, as we said, it's through the Creative Commons. It's free, sustainabilitytoolbox.com. It's available, I think we mentioned, in 5 languages. So what do we got? French, English, Spanish, Portuguese, and soon to be German.
German.
We're going to add more languages, so if yours not there, reach out to us. What else have we got, Amy?
Yeah, I think some new features. So once you sort of sign in, get into the platform, then there's all the various assets, documents, trackers, templates, and things that are related to each step. But also we've got a new sort of vidcast coming that's going to feature some of the Toolbox members and where they're sharing their successes and challenges and wins. And then we've sort of got this growing set of case studies that organizations are showing how they've gone through each step as well.
I love what Amy is describing is really the organic nature of the platform. So rather than going down a licensed product route, which we did look at a couple of years ago, aligned with 11th Hour Racing objectives, it was really about making this accessible multi-language, free, and it's actually the value of the community feeding back into these assets which has really created the value and is this growing value in the toolbox. Behind that, we've met Isaac Murray already. There's online forums, which again facilitates that interaction between sectors, across sectors, cross-sector learning. And for those who need more additional support, we've this growing network of accelerators who provide maybe more sector-specific consultancy where that's needed.
Yeah, so Damian, I mean, from what I'm hearing, Creative Commons and community, that's the true value of the toolbox from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we just had two amazing examples from Hannah and from Cathleen. Thank you both. And you know, I can't really see any other way that we would have achieved so much in such a short space of time if we'd gone down a different route. It's a testament to philanthropy. It's a testament to this ability to move in a way which is very different to a commercial, you know, market agreement. And I think it's a real testament to the power of the Creative Commons and what we can generate together collaboratively.
Definitely. And Amy, what about you? What's the true value of the Sustainability Toolbox?
Yeah, I think it's the peer-to-peer learning, as Damian was saying, and you know, the inertia that's creating amongst the members, but also, yeah, the ability for us, enabled by 11th Hour Racing, to be able to host it in an accessible format.
Fabulous. Michelle, you know, when you look at this is obviously a big body of work. To create a toolbox like this, it takes time, energy, resources, but for you, what does success for the toolbox look like?
Yeah, I think success for us is just this continued exponential growth of the number of users across different geographies and sectors. And every time we have a user like newportFILM, like, it's a ripple effect. That person that can now influence their colleagues, their network, their community. And so we hope that this just keeps scaling up and up and up, because ultimately, sustainability needs to be embedded into all different types of organizations, big and small, universities, municipalities, you know, industry. So having a tool like the Toolbox that can walk people through that process, I think, is just awesome.
It is awesome, and I hope you all will take the time to check it out. Damian, I want to move to you. Final word.
Final word. What are the final words? I mean, I think when we, you know, what's this all about? What is New York Climate Week about? What is Nest Climate Campus about? I think for me, when we get up in the morning, throughout the week and the days here, throughout our working life, we have impacts. And we got to look at those, and I think we need to kind of create a paradigm shift and sort of, how can we make these negative impacts positive? How can I leave this room, my family, my friends, my community, my workspace better for my presence? This is what the sustainability journey is about. This is the toolbox. It doesn't recreate the process. It represents well-known sustainability process and standards. We roadmap out to those standards and signpost for certain sectors where they should go for these specific standards. For me, it's really about, I think for all of us, just getting on board and taking that brave first step and be ambitious. Next year, we can do better.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And I think, I know this is impromptu, but like, you're, as a sailor, when you're out on the open ocean, and you're looking out on the horizon and you think about these things that are happening in the world and how do we move forward in sustainability, like, what gives you that drive every day to get up and work on stuff like this?
Yeah, well, I think that's, for me personally, that's quite an important question, because I've been in sports as an athlete per se for pretty much my whole professional life, and it's a great privilege for all of us to be passionate about whatever scope of work we have, and we all believe that whatever we're doing is the most important thing at that time. And I think, sports, being able to be an athlete is a privilege, but for me to be able to, I feel now that, working with 11th Hour Racing and all of you here in this room on a much bigger task is much more satisfying, much more important, and leaves a much more important legacy for my kids and all of our kids than just the trophy at the end of a specific race. These are important platforms, and we can use them for better.
beautiful way to wrap us up. Thank you so much, Damian. Well, I think that's about it. Our time is up, but if you would like to check out the Toolbox and dive a little deeper, make sure to reach out. You can email us at info@sustainabilitytoolbox.com or go to the website, sustainabilitytoolbox.com. And if you're here today at the campus for a little bit longer, make sure to meet us out by the Race Below Immersive Experience. Amy and Damian will be out there chatting, so come and say hi. If you want to ask some questions, feel free. And we just want to thank all of you for joining our session today. Amy, Damian, Michelle, Kathleen, thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing in the world. It's been an honor. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Danni.